Happy Lesbian, good morning. I'm finishing up my coffee before I head off to the kennel today. I want to talk a little bit about several people on my YouTube video and on my TikTok when I talk about politics said, "Why don't you run?" And I have actually been asked to run by my local. They're always looking for people to run. So if you can run, please do run because the local we can't make changes on the bigger until we make changes on the little, right? We've got to start local. And I have several friends on here. My friend Lauren that I went to college with is running down in Kansas. My friend Jen Brothers is running in her state. So I will tag Jen, and Lauren doesn't have a TikTok, but I will put a link to her information. So your average people are running. Um, why don't I run? There are several reasons. I don't want to. I mean, number one is I don't want to. I don't feel like I have the concentration, the discipline, and the skill set to run for office. Do I have the social skills? Absolutely. Do I have the charisma? Yeah, probably. Do I have the energy? Yeah, I probably do physically and even mentally. I can take on a lot of emotional and physical stress and actually thrive in it. My cousin has called me an enthusiastic empath, which means I really thrive on listening to other people's stories, even if they're hard to listen to, and I'm able to absorb that energy and then turn it into something positive. I don't know. She's probably right. She said it comes from my dad's side of the family, and it does describe me very much so. But it comes down to money. I would have to make a full-time salary that almost doubles what I make at my 3 jobs just to run. In other words, I would have to be paid to run, and that's not something that's legal or ethical from what I can see. People that run out of the goodness of their heart because I want to do good, and absolutely. But I can't pay my bills if I don't work my 3 jobs. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Any one of those jobs loses hours, and my budget takes a hit. It happened in December when I lost hours. It just takes a hit. When I got sick of COVID, I'm still recovering from that loss. So that's a natural consequence of having a job where you live paycheck to paycheck. And I'm doing the best I can, and I'm willing to work, and I'm willing to take on the hours. I could not take off from any one of those jobs, even a day, to focus on running. And I think a lot of people are in that boat, and that's why we don't have a lot of candidates that are just on the local level saying, "Yeah, I can run." You almost have to be married, where you have a support system. The other person is making money or whatever. You have to have less debt. You have to have all these things. And now I know Jen Brothers is the exception. She has debt. She's a single mom. She has all these things. How she's doing it, I don't know, but I admire the fact that she's doing it, and I hope she's getting a ton of support from her local community and from her party, from the Democrats that are helping her to run. I really do. It's just not possible for me. It's just not monetarily possible. And let's take all that away and say I could do it. I don't think I would anyway. I really don't. I don't think I have the skill set um, to run for office. I don't think I do. To campaign, yes. To be in office, that's a whole different story. So that's why I don't run. I don't really want to, and I couldn't afford it even if I wanted to. So how do we change this system to make it so that the average person, because it's supposed to be a government run by the people for the people, and it becomes a career politician thing. We need to get rid of term limits. We need to get rid of campaign funding that comes from everywhere. I mean, we need to have, in my opinion, if I was in office and had the ability to change this and push for it, I would push for, and I think everybody that runs for office should push for equal campaigning. No outside money, none of this. Everybody, a little bit of taxes goes, everybody gets the same amount of money. Everybody gets $50,000, period. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I think that's what we should push for. I think we should push for equal campaign money. Everybody that runs for a campaign, there's a set limit. That's what the government gives you. The taxpayers pay into a fund instead of private donors and all this crap. We pay into a fund. We can clearly afford it. If we're giving this much money to ICE right now, come on. We can afford to do that. Every candidate, depending on what they're running for, gets a budget based on what they need to run, and it's equal across the board. Boy, if we had truly ethical people in power, they would push for that. But they don't want to push for that because the people in power want to stay in power, and they'll use the excuse that, well, if we do that, then I can't run against this because we'll lose. And it's like, well, at some point, the system needs to be toppled and fixed. And every single politician that does not support term limits, and every single politician that does not push and loudly support for campaign finance reform, they're just a part of the problem.